Hi guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be very different. I have no makeup on right now, except for my brows. I dropped the kids off from school and I have to wear my brows. But I thought it would be fun. I have had my YouTube channel now for about a year and a half, and I have never ever done like a get to know me video. Frankly, I didn't know if anyone really cared about a lot of the details of my life. So I don't know, I just didn't really think to do one. But I figured, why not? I wanted to do a get ready with me because I've recently found some really cool products and I kind of just wanted to show you guys. So I figured, why not make it a get ready with me and get to know me a little bit. So if you guys could give two craps about anything, then I'll see you guys in my next video. But if you want to kind of hear about my story and how I got to where I am, then just keep watching. First things first, my name is Wendy and I am addicted to coffee. I cannot start my day without coffee. I have already prepped my skin a bit. I put on my Rodan & Fields eye cream, and then I recently started using, I will say I am a consultant with Rodan & Fields and I've been doing that since 2014 and I absolutely love their products, but I get bored easily, so I do like to try out new products, and I've been recently hearing about this No. 7 brand. I've never tried it before. So I went to Walgreens the other day and I picked this up because I ran out of my RNF 8 AM cream, so I wanted to get some day cream. So this is a Lift Illuminate Triple Action Day Cream with an SPF 30. So I did put this on and it just gives your skin like a nice pretty glow. I don't know, I'm really liking it so far. And then of course I've got my Nurse Jamie tool here. I love this thing. Tati made me buy it. I don't really know that it does a whole heck of a lot, but it just feels good. It's nice and cool, and I just like to run it on the skin before I put on any kind of makeup. Okay, so today I'm just going to be doing a light, like everyday mommy makeup look. I do need to film a couple videos. I just kind of wanted to do something easy and just show you guys like what my everyday routine. So I am going to start off with this Catrice Prime and Fine. It's just a smoothing refiner. It's like a primer. It's supposed to blur your pores and lines, and I just like how it feels. It's kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like a weird texture, but I like how it feels. So, okay. So for those of you that have been watching my channel for a while, you will know that when I first started my YouTube channel, it was called Wendi Marie, which is my first and middle name. And I more so wanted to kind of concentrate on like beauty. I've always just kind of had a love of makeup, skincare, anything like that. So I kind of wanted to do that. But then I kind of just started getting into more of like the mommy stuff, the house stuff. I just like to do like more lifestyle stuff now. So I did recently change my channel name to Family Matters, and it's F-A-M-L-E-E because our last name is Lee, and I thought that was really cute because family, you know, my channel is a lot of family stuff. So I thought that was really cute. I actually did a little poll on Facebook to help me think of a new name, and one of our friends came up with that, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's perfect. So okay, now I'm going in with the Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation, and mine is in the shade MC1. And so yeah, changed my channel name, and I've kind of been doing more family stuff. I still like to do some beauty stuff just because I like to do that stuff. So a little background about me. I am originally from Illinois, just right outside of Chicago. I grew up in the cold weather. So for those of you guys, oh, and also I'm using my e.l.f. sponge. This sponge is awesome. I recently got it, and it is compared to the Beauty Blender. I actually threw away my Beauty Blender because it was in rough shape, and I don't plan on getting another one because I love this sponge so much. Okay, so for concealer, oh my goodness, I need to get a new one. This thing's almost gone. I'm using the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind, and I just put a little bit under my eyes. And I have this friend up here that I just want to kind of conceal too. So where were we? So yeah, I'm from Illinois, from the Midwest. I know what you guys are going through. I feel for you guys that are in this cold weather. Stay warm. Currently we live in Phoenix, Arizona, And I moved out here in 2009, and I actually met my husband out here, and we're from the same place in Illinois, which is so crazy. We grew up probably like 15 minutes from each other, and we never met back home. I actually worked with his sister when I was 16. We had never met before, so it's really crazy. So we actually met out here on Camelback Mountain. I was out hiking and taking my IT Cosmetics Airbrush Perfecting Powder, and this is in medium. I'm just gonna kind of set everything. So yeah, I was out hiking Camelback Mountain, and I was going up the mountain, and Ryan, my husband, was coming down, and I heard, you know, I don't know if you guys have ever hiked Camelback, but it is intense, and it was actually my first time ever hiking it. I heard someone mention Rockford, which is where I'm from, and I kind of just stopped, and I was like, wait a minute, Rockford? Who just said Rockford? Like, who, you know, where am I? So I like looked up, and I saw him, and I actually recognized him, and I was like, I go, did you just say Rockford, like Rockford, Illinois? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, well, I'm from there. And he's like, I'm from there. And so I looked at him closer, and I was like, are you so-and-so's brother? So yeah, I totally recognized him as being one of my friend's brothers. And he's like, yeah. So I was like, wow, okay, cool. So we didn't really like talk a whole lot more. We kind of just left it at that. I was like, wow, good to see you, like, cool. So the power of social media. Oh, I'm using my Too Faced Chocolate Soleil Medium Deep Bronzer. So the power of social media, I found him on Facebook because we have a ton of mutual friends. I actually like knew a bunch of his friends. And so I found him, and I think did I message him? Yeah, that's right. Okay, I messaged him and just said, you know, it was nice seeing you, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, I'll get in contact with you next week or whatever, you know. Well, and of course he had to ask, like, oh, did you move out here with your boyfriend, husband, whatever. Surprisingly, we were both single. So he never called, never contacted me like he said he would. So I was like, whatever. So I was actually working at a restaurant at the time, and I ended up texting him, and I was like, hey, my work is having a party, you should stop by. He didn't text me back. He picked up the phone and he called me back, and I was like, oh, this boy's a winner. So we actually ended up going on our first date the next day. He didn't come meet me at the party, but we talked for like an hour and a half or whatever. And so we went on our first date the next day, and we've been together ever since. So it was a pretty crazy random story. So a little bit about before I moved out here, I am going to be using, this is kind of what I use every day. This is the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Volume 3 eyeshadow palette. I got this in my BoxyCharm, and the colors are kind of bland. It's kind of boring, but this is like perfect for every day. I'm gonna go ahead, and I usually use this color right here, and I just pop that all over my lid just to kind of set the foundation that I put on there earlier. So I just start with that, and then, okay. So before moving here, I lived in Illinois till I was about 24, and I have a dance background. I was on Palms in high school, and then we had a semi-pro basketball team in Rockford, and I danced with them for 6 years, and I loved dancing. I loved doing all that stuff, but being a cheerleader in the NFL had always been a dream of mine, as I'm sure a lot of people, it was their dream, and I'd always wanted to try out for the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, but living in Illinois where I did, Dallas was really far away, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I'm ready to make that big of a change, you know? So now I'm gonna go ahead and take this darker brown color and just kind of pop this on the outside corner. So I had started looking, okay, so first of all, let's talk about what I was doing before I started looking into that. I started out working in the restaurant industry. So I started bartending when I was about 19. And I worked at a couple places in Illinois, and then I kind of didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I enjoyed bartending, but obviously that's not something you want to do forever. I was looking into possibly teaching. I worked with a kindergarten class for a couple years, and I really, really enjoyed it. So I decided I wanted to go back to school to become a teacher, and I was in the process of starting to go back to school, and that's kind of when the whole like cheerleading thing with the NFL kind of came about. And I was like, if I want to do this, I need to do this now. Like I need to think about possibly trying out and doing this now before I get too old. Now I'm going to take this gold, I'm going to take this color right here and just put that on the lid. I started researching online like what teams, so the Chicago Bears were the closest to me, but they do not have cheerleaders. They haven't had cheerleaders since the 80s. So I was like, all right, that's out. Plus, they play outside. So I was like, I do not want to be cheering out in the cold. Well, whatever, they don't have cheerleaders, so that wasn't an option. So at the time, it was either between Indianapolis or St. Louis, because those two were about, St. Louis was a little bit farther. And so I was like, all right, who should I try out for? And I just like kept going on the websites, kept like researching. And so I was like, all right, we're going to do this. I'm going to try out for the Indianapolis Colts. I was like, what if I got to lose? If I don't make it, fine, I'll go back to school, I'll become a teacher. But if I do make it, holy moly. And if I don't try, I knew I would have regretted it. So I am going to go ahead and first of all, I'm going to use this Casey Holmes, the Physicians Formula collection, and I love using this blush. I normally use the bronzer. I don't know why I forgot about it, but I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of this blush on. So yeah, I'm researching online, finding out when the auditions are. I filled out the applications. I did everything I needed to do, and I got this particular year they had auditions like in different cities throughout the state. So obviously I picked the one that was closest to me, and I went and auditioned, and I made it through that round, and I got invited to the auditions in Indianapolis. So I was like, okay, cool. All right, and then I am going to be going in, actually, no, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna use this Catrice Prime and Fine, this Dewy Glowing Spray. I love putting this on after I do all my powder. I like to just put this on my face and just kind of set everything in. And then I like to kind of press it in with my beauty blender. Okay, so I got invited back to Indianapolis, blah, blah, blah. So my mom actually went with me, and we drove to Indy for the auditions. We got a hotel room, we stayed the night. Like I think we were just there like one night. Did the audition rounds that next day. I think I made it to like the first or second round, I don't remember, but then I got cut. So we went home, and I was, I was sad. I was like, all right, well, it just wasn't meant to be, but it was an amazing experience. It was so cool getting to like go and just, just to be in the NFL experience. Like we weren't at the stadium, but we were at like their practice facility, which was amazing. Okay, so next I'm going to be I'm using my Lash Princess from Essence. And so, okay, so then I go back home, and I'm in school. I can't remember where I was working at the time. I think I was still bartending. And so like a year went by, and auditions came up again. And I was like, oh, man, like I really wish that I could have made it, like that was my dream. So I was like, you know what the heck have I got to lose? I'm going to try out one more year. Like one more year. If I don't make it, then I'm done. Like it just wasn't meant to be. So I went to auditions. I drove to Indy. Can't remember who went with me. My mom go with me? I do not remember. Oh my goodness, this was so long ago. So I went, tried out, freaking made it through the first round, second round, third round, and I'm like, holy moly. So they send us all home, and they're like, okay, we're having another audition in a week back in Indy. And I'm like, okay, so I guess I'm going to Indy next week. So at the time, I'm still living in Rockford. This is like a 4.5, 5-hour drive. So long story short, it was kind of like the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, how they do like the training camp. It was a month full of auditions. So I was commuting from Rockford to Indianapolis 2 to 3 times a week because I couldn't move to Indy. I didn't know if I made the team, so I'm not going to move somewhere if if I haven't made it yet. So I did this commute for a whole entire month, and then we finally had our main last audition, and they didn't tell us that day. They sent us home, and I'm like, are you kidding me? So they said, all right, call this number tomorrow, and we will announce the numbers. So I remember being at work. I was working at Cliff Breakers restaurant in Rockford, Illinois. I was bartending, and the time came, and I worked with all my best friends, and I remember that day we were working, and I was like, okay, I gotta go call. So I went outside on the back balcony, and I called the number and I heard my number. And I was like, holy freaking crap. So I like had to call back like 5 more times and make sure that they really, really announced my number. And I was like, oh my gosh, I made it, holy crap. So needless to say, my friends and I had a really fun night at work that night. So yeah, I ended up meeting a girlfriend through another friend, and I ended up moving in with her. I never met her before. Moved to Indy, I did not know one person. Moved by myself. It was the coolest, scariest experience of my life, but I'm so thankful I did it. I cheered for 4 years. It was the coolest thing I've ever done. We actually went to the Super Bowl my second year. We went to Miami when we played the Bears, and we won. It was so cool. It rained the entire game. Prince was at halftime. It was just such a neat experience. I met some of the most amazing women I'm still friends with today. It was just the coolest experience. So I'm so thankful for that. So I lived there for 4 years, and after 4 years, I just kind of knew in my heart that I was done. I was like, you know, I'm ready to move on. So I was either going to move home to Illinois, or I thought about moving out here to Arizona where it's warm. So yeah, I moved out here. I had family out here, so it made the decision super easy. And then it was about after 6 months of me living here is when I met my husband, and that's history. The rest of that's history. So so in addition to cheering, I bartended. I bartended for about 15 years. Still can't believe I did it for that long. Such a fun job. I met some really cool people through that too. But yeah, so now I am just staying home and I'm doing the whole YouTube thing, raising my 2 little babies. Are you guys bored yet? And then, okay, then I've got my lip gloss here. This is from Wet n Wild Flights of Fancy, the hummingbird collection that they had. This is the color Fly Gal. I just like to wear this. So that is pretty much it. That's pretty much all I do as far as makeup. This is like nothing crazy, just kind of an everyday natural makeup look. So yeah, I would say that's about it. So my little ones are 3 and almost 5 right now, and we recently bought an RV last summer. That has been a lot of fun. My husband loves tinkering with stuff, and he's had so much fun working on that. We actually took a trip back home to the Midwest last summer with it. That was interesting. That was 2 weeks that we kind of lived in our RV. Like, we stayed at our parents a couple nights too, but that was very interesting. So that is pretty much my story. If you guys have any other questions, let me know. I hope that I didn't bore you all to death. And also with my brows, what is that? Oh yeah, this is what I used on my brows today. This is the Benefit Foolproof Brow Powder, and it looks like that. So I do like to use either the powders, or sometimes I'll use like the pencils, but the powders I feel like are easier. They're just quick and easy for me, so I just kind of like to do that quick. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you got to know me a little bit better. If you guys are new, I would love it if you would subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, and we'll see you guys all next time. Bye, have a good day.